One of a Kind with Rob Van Dam is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Rob Van Dam! Rob Van Dam! Rob Van Dam! I'm Rob Van Dam. The whole show.
Oh yeah, what's up? It's a Sunday night, and it is a hot night. It is not trash night, but it is one of a kind with who? It's with RVD. Yeah, Rob, what's happening, man? How are you?
Hey, fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
Happy Sunday to you.
Happy Sunday to you too, and happy Sunday to all the listeners and watchers out here that are tuning in live with us. We got Maddie in the house, we got Triple E in the house, we got Jem the Dawn, Ricky Jordan, so many of the regulars in here, some new faces I see in here too. So
Appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know it's been a long day at church today.
It has been. I actually didn't go to church today.
What?
I haven't been to church in a while. I haven't been to church in a while. Don't tell my mom.
Bro, don't tell Jesus. Don't worry about your mom.
That's right. Oh, you're giving me the Catholic guilt. I got the Catholic guilt going.
Is that, you know what? Like, we all live in our own bubbles, and you know, that's like a whole. I think I might save that for next week. It's a whole RVD-ology fucking episode. Like, people don't realize that they only live in their own bubbles. And when you're like a worldwide traveler and you travel all around the world, you have worldwide experience. But then there's people online that have never been out of their city, but they'll stand there and argue with someone that's got worldwide perspective because their little bubble of the 300 people that they know, those are the fact. Them are facts according to them, you know.
Yeah.
And they'll stand there, you know, when it's relevant. It's not always relevant, but anyway, what was it about with the bubble? And what was it you asked me? Did you ask me something?
Going to church?
Oh, yeah. So, thank you. What I wanted to say was, like, I forget that church is such a popular thing because I haven't gone my whole life. I went till I was like 6 or something. Like, I have very vague memories of my parents trying to find a church that they liked for us kids and coming up unsatisfied, and so we just didn't go. And I remember being baptized, so technically I'm Catholic because that happened kind of late in life. It seemed like, I mean, I don't know, when I wasn't a baby. I mean, I was like in high school or something. I don't know.
Oh, so it was that later on?
It seems like it maybe junior high, but
yeah, that's later on.
Yeah, it was like maybe the last time I went to my grandparents while my grandpa was still alive. So it was like, you know, I guess that would have been a little bit earlier. I guess 6th grade, maybe. Anyway, I forget how popular churches are, but there's one on like every block, it seems like, when you drive around. And if you don't, if you're not aware or tuned in, it's so easy to hit those same streets I hit every day, and I never even notice. And then if I'm looking to actually count how many churches, like, holy crap, and there's another and another and another. Like, how could I not notice that? It's a castle, and some of them are so big, so grand, majestic, and I kind of want to go just to, because it looks like a cool looking castle, you know, that should be on a mountain in the UK somewhere or something. I don't know, but anyway, that tells me that they must be doing all right if they're still around.
That's it. Like, Rob, where I grew up, Pennsylvania, middle of nowhere, we had like so many churches just in our small town, and it's just like so many. And then like when you go to the city, you do see plenty of churches. But I also too feel like being in the city, it's some of it's a little bit more secular. So like I don't get much of that church experience that I did when I was a kid in my small town in comparison to being in the city in Pittsburgh right now. I don't know how other people feel about that, but it's just a different vibe kind of thing going on because there's so many different people, I think, and so many mixing, people from all different types of backgrounds and beliefs and all that stuff. And
for me, just because of the lifespan difference between when I was a little kid and now, I can't look at that weird guy in the robe up in front of the room the same way that I could have as a kid. Like as a kid, he's an adult. He's like a teacher, like a principal. He's somebody really important because all the adults give this guy respect. Like he's got the direct line to God, and be nice to him, and God's gonna do you better.
Yeah.
But as an adult, it's like, wow, that dude is amazing, like what he does for a living. And let's look who's talking, right? But man, it's like it's so strange to me to look at this guy that everyone looks at with like with a worshiping presence, and to see him like putting wafers in people's mouths like adults and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I still do go once in a great while. Usually it's a wedding. Usually, sometimes could be the other. But and even the baptizing, where he dips the kid into the water, like or something. Which I don't think I did that. I got splashed. I don't really.
Yeah, probably got splashed or something.
I think so. Yeah, but yeah, and then just like I can't imagine getting up in a room full of people, good house here, we got 80 people. Let's all sing from John Holmes 3:16.
That's it. That's it, Rob.
Like does God, be like, oh, somebody's calling me.
Hey, what's that?
I don't know. It's just weird. The whole experience is weird.
It is but like me, I grew up Catholic too, so it's like I'm used to the whole sitting down, standing up, going up to communion, all that stuff, altar boy, all that, like that whole stuff and going on. So like when I would go to like a different church, like with a friend or wherever it may be, it's just a completely different vibe in comparison to what I was used to too. So it's like, people practice it all very differently and everything. But yeah,
I remember my grandma used to always say when I was a kid, and I would ask about church and stuff. She would say that a lot of people go to church and then they turn around and sin. And I took it literally, like they're in the pews and they're like, God bless me, and they're turning around to the person behind them, fuck you,
like turning and immediately sinning.
Yeah, because everyone knows adult language is definitely sinning. Jesus don't like you using swear words. Hey, no one's cussing at you. Come on now. But anyway, yeah, I took it literally, but I get it now that it's like like people do it, and then they hope that they're paying off the balance, so that karma will tip in their favor more, and they do it for the same reason Sabu was like overly generous. He said, if I give when I can, then if I'm in need, the universe will, hopefully pay me back. And it's like, I think that's why everyone goes to church, even I mean, not everybody. There's certain, obviously everyone's different levels of how into their religion they are, but I think, it's probably popular to go and then feel and hope like you did your part to make up for the rest of the week, while you're cheating on your wife with the your secretary at work and lying to her while you're at the bar at night,
People have all these different reasons. Yeah, people definitely go to do that or just to keep up appearances. That's like a status thing. I'll go to church so people look at me a certain way that, oh, he's so pious or they're so pious or whatever. And here they're just doing despicable stuff that you probably don't even know about, or vice versa. People go there because they do get some fulfillment out of it and feel a deeper connection with God, and then they feel good for the week and stuff like that. So
yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, that kind of thing. You were talking about bubbles, and it made me think. Whenever I hear bubble in pro wrestling, I always think WWE because people talk about the WWE bubble. Did you kind of, even though you traveled around and you were all over the world and stuff like that, did you feel in some version of it that you were in a WWE bubble still, or that people did get wrapped up into that?
You can get wrapped up in, like, if you're in the WWE bubble, and let's say it's like such a big part of your life, your perspective is from the middle of your own bubble. So what you don't pay attention to or don't take in doesn't exist, and it could be World War, and if you're not really watching the news because you're just busy traveling and talking about wrestling when you get to work and hook up with your peers, it could very be, and then you could easily get trapped into thinking that bubble is everything that life has to offer, and then you believe that everybody feels that way, which is how every bubble works. And then you could believe like that this shot at the title that you got coming up in a few weeks, like you could believe that everybody should, or you think everyone is as excited about it as you are, and this is where not just wrestlers, but celebrities sometimes will be offended if they cross somebody that doesn't fit in their belief bubble because they think that they're on top of the world. They're like, dude, I'm the Intercontinental Champion or whatever. And then they meet somebody that's like, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. I don't follow wrestling. Some people get offended. They'll be like, I don't know who you are, Jack. Get the fuck away from me. And it's like, dude, you don't understand. That's just your bubble. It's a small percentage of the world. I had someone tell me, like, if you have 1 million Twitter followers, there might be like 200,000 that aren't bots or fake followers or whatever. And I don't understand that whole thing, but I think that it also applies towards the bubbles. You know what I mean? Like if you every day, when you wake up until you go to bed at night, if you just live on a farm and that's like all you do is farming and growing the vegetables and stuff, then you might not turn on, you might not even have a TV, whatever. If you don't, then things that are huge news to a lot of us in society might not even catch your attention, or you may not even be aware of it, and that's easy too. Katie, we're all like in our in our different bubbles. I was just gonna say, Katie all the time will ask me about things that I don't know about, and vice versa, but she'll say, hey, I don't know, the airline that went down or whatever, and I'll be like, no, it didn't make it inside like my bubble. The bubble I would explain is basically it's as far as you can see, and people aren't willing to take in anything past that point. They can't take in something because they can't believe anything past what they can see. They have to actually change their way of believing in order to take in any information past the basic bubble boundaries.
No, it's so true too. It's like, people get so involved in their own world or what they're doing in their life, whether they have a bunch of kids or they have a job that they're worried about. But like, if I'm coming from the pro wrestling side of things and looking at it from there, like you hear about like people who just recently got released from WWE and they kind of think that's the end all be all. Well, I made it to WWE and my whole career's over because I got released now. Or there's so much more potential that you can do outside of WWE, but a lot of younger wrestlers feel like this is it. This is the big show, and then I'm done after that. And like, but there's so much more going on outside of it all too. It's such a weird thing, I think.
Yeah, no, but that's it's like you, especially like if you get depressed because you lost your job, or you're grieving because of death, any loss, whatever. If you get depressed, it's so easy to get into this really small bubble where there's like a whole world out there that you just can't connect with. It's like there's happiness out there, but you would never know it because you got yourself in this like closet of darkness, and you can't see out of it, because that's what depression does, is it surrounds you, engulfs you with darkness, and it cuts you off and disconnects you from what's really out there, just a little arm's reach away, but it's outside your bubble.
That's exactly, Rob. And that actually leads me to a question Triple E put in here. It's kind of RVDology here in certain ways. He's like, RVD, any chance for an RVDology for June being Men's Mental Health Month? What is someone to do if meds, therapists, and people who say they care but use the stuff you tell them against you when they take their anger out on a person? Like any other idea rather than smoking a bunch of bud and wax to calm your head than thinking eating a bullet or being the only way to quiet their mind. So just, if meds and therapists and all that kind of stuff is not really hitting with you or whatever, and then you have family members that are not, you confide in somebody, but then they use it as ammo against you. I've had that happen to me before too, I know, Triple E. But Rob, maybe you can add some input onto that.
Well, I'm assuming that the doctors didn't use it against them.
Yeah, no, not the doctors. Probably a personal family member or a friend or something like that, where you confide in somebody and then they get angry at them, and then like, hey, remember when you did this, and throw it back in your face, kind of thing. I know I've had family members that do that to me before.
Yeah, it's rough to answer this, because the obvious answer to me is to just keep at it and don't give up. Mm-hmm. And that's not easy to hear, but you say you tried meds. How many different meds did you try? Mm-hmm. You say you tried a doctor. How many different doctors did you try? And that's important, because I know a lot of people that got prescribed the wrong meds. It didn't work for them. They got prescribed the right meds eventually. Sometimes it took going to a different doctor. Sometimes it took just going from different meds with the same doctor that was, willing to say, okay, that's not the right thing for you. Let's try this, whatever. There's so many different medications. And the reason that they're different is because we all get different results from everything. So, it's very possible you get the wrong stuff, but the right stuff is still out there that could really help out. You got a chemical imbalance in your brain, and you try some Lexapro, or you try some whatever, and it's really not working for you, and it's making you have worse thoughts or whatever. I've had people tell me that what's the it's not. I'm trying to think of the name of the one that like people would drink on it and then have suicidal thoughts. Prozac. Thank you. Yeah. So that was like that. I think so many people tried that and then gave up on the whole idea of being on any meds. Mm-hmm. And if that's your choice, if you want to not be on any meds, but if you have a chemical imbalance, it's really like having a virus in your health. Like homeostasis is where it's at, and that's optimum health, spiritual, mentally, physically, all three. And do as much as you can on your own as far as searching those, finding the weakest element of those three, and finding a way to work on it. But having like one experience or even two sometimes ain't it. When we buy a car, a lot of times we test drive cars, because we take a car and we're like, you know what? I don't really like that one. Let me try a different one. You know what? I think I want something a little bigger. If you look at it that way, doctors are the same way. I've had different doctors that I liked, and I've had different doctors that I didn't like, for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, the doctors I liked were a lot better for me. I got better results. But it can be the same with therapists. It can be the same with uh, anti-depression medications. It can be the same with, say you try meditating, you try yoga, maybe you find something that really works for you, because the reason those things are around isn't because they're bullshit. It's because it does work for some people.
Yeah, Rob, and you hit it too, because it's like doctors, you can go to several different doctors and get several different opinions, and like you can go to several different therapists and get several different viewpoints, and some of them stick with you and click with you. And the same with medication too. It's like, and the crappy thing about medication is it usually takes a couple weeks to kick in, like before you get any feeling for it, and then you have a reaction depending on how it is, and it's a really trial and error too, Triple E. So it's just what you depend. And like if you're concerned about confiding in people, if some people will do that, they will throw it back in your face. Other people you'll confide in and they'll give you some advice, or they'll want to help you problem solve. And sometimes that doesn't even help you too, because you're not necessarily looking for a problem solver or anything like that. You're looking for somebody to just confide in. So that's also a trial and error kind of thing, is deciding on who to kind of confide in. But and then be forward with that person. Like, oh, I don't need that right now. Basically, you can tell them in a roundabout way. But it's tough, Triple E. It's a very tough situation to be in. I think a lot of people are going through what you're going through too at the same time. That's another thing to think about.
One thing to add to that, though, I really don't think a bullet to the brain solves anything. It really doesn't. And it hurts everybody that you leave behind. That's the thing, is you punish everybody else, not yourself. So obviously it's a very selfish thing to do, but then the very definition of selfish, by its own nature, you can't get any more about oneself than deciding to take yourself out. But definitely you'll be leaving a lot of pain behind. Not a good choice. I don't think it solves, any problems. Although we could talk about Dr. Kevorkian, when people are like deathly sick. Dr. Kevorkian, if you don't know, created a suicide machine for people that were terminally ill, that were just living and suffering, and he made it easy for them to take themselves out. And the van is here in Las Vegas at the Zach Bannigan, the ghost guy, Zach Bagan's museum.
Oh, okay.
I might be mispronouncing his name, but I think that's it. But anyway, he's a ghost hunter dude, and the van. It may not have been. I asked my mom about this recently, but she thought about it, and she was saying that it was something, that was like really inhumane. But the way she described it, I said, that's not how it was at all. Maybe it was at first, but he made it eventually so that it's a van and you sit in there real comfortable with your favorite music, your favorite whatever. And when you're ready, you push a button and it injects into you and you have total control. And my mom was like, oh, well, that doesn't sound that bad that way. Like, I can't remember what she thought it was. I think that they gas it and that you suffocate, which if he did that, maybe that was, one of his first trial ones or something. I don't know. Be interesting to follow that story. But that's a hell of a story for just to get people's values and opinions on how they feel about that. Very controversial, But
yeah.
bullet to the brain is messy, and if you're not terminally ill, then it's all a waste for nothing.
You're hurting a lot of people that you don't even really consider in the moment too. But it's when you have those kind of thoughts and you're going through that kind of mind state too, it's hard to shake yourself out of it. But just know that you are in your bubble right now, and there's a bigger picture outside of all that you're currently going through. And it's tough when you're in a mode like that to kind of shake yourself free from that. But just know you're in a storm and you'll get out of it soon enough.
Yep, everything is temporary.
Everything is temporary. Maddie says Moo Man the Chihuahua is world champ in his bubble. Dog. So, Maddie, happy birthday, by the way. I think it's Maddie's
Oh,
birthday today.
happy birthday, Maddie Marijuana.
Yeah, big one. That's a big one.
Hey, man.
And Jem the Dawn is a new member here at RVD TV. So if you guys want to, I'm coming up with some stuff I want to do for members on here. You'll get the episodes early for sure on here, but you can get the episodes always on RVD, Rob's YouTube channel after it goes live too at the same time. So I'll come up with some extra fun stuff. You can use emojis that I made. I'm going to create a few more too, and then I'll come up with some good ideas. But thank you for joining, Jem the Dawn. Appreciate it. And then what else did I want to cover here? I know I had a couple other super chats here. We have Ricky. Thanks for the $5, Ricky. He says, "How are the heels, Rob? How are your heels doing?"
They're good. They're real good. I'm not gonna win any foot races for a few more weeks, but I'm able to walk around, and they're better and better all the time. So I'm walking now, slowly but surely. I can carry shit up and down the stairs several times a day. So I do walk a lot better if I'm under medication. And that does include alcohol. Without that, like a little slower, like they kind of hurt. I don't know if I've lost my arches, or at least one of them. I don't think both of them, but I might have lost the arch in one of my feet, which if that did happen, then I will probably have like a little limp moving forward. But I don't think I really care. I've searched my fucks and I don't give any. So I don't know. I mean, hopefully not though. Hopefully I can get back, to running and everything, and not have any pain that slows that down. And I think that I will be fine. But yeah, it's, I don't know. Like if I couldn't walk right again because I had to get on my feet when I was supposed to be off them to go and memorialize Sabu and shit, then totally worth it the way I see it.
Yeah, heck yeah, absolutely. What's been your longest injury, Rob? What was it? Was it your famous one? Your longest injury, the one that you had in ECW for the TV title?
Well, no, I mean, when you say longest, I would have to go with ones that I carry now.
Oh yeah, true.
So my longest injury, I believe, is my wrist. I broke my wrist in '93, and I consider it still injured because I've lost my range of motion in it. I can't bend my wrist very much. So when I'm lifting weights, especially like with a bar instead of dumbbells, there's a lot of times where that range of motion makes it impossible or very difficult to do certain movements, especially to feel it where I want to. So that one, my left wrist here is 32 years.
Wow.
Yeah. But I mean, I just know I'm going to always have that. I can't bend my wrist any more than that.
Yeah, you're used to it at this point, like what you got to do and how your body works, right? So at this juncture.
Yeah, I use my knuckles a lot more than my flat hand.
Yeah.
For opening doors, for push-ups, for crawling, for whatever, because my wrist doesn't really like bend to make that fucking 90-degree angle that I would need to do a lot of that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. Good to hear you're doing all right, though, and I'm sure that's just a progress. Like I said when it first happened, I was like, I didn't even know you could break your heels.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
No, probably not, right?
It is still. I'm still going through the process. I still have to rest them after using them a lot because they get like really tired and sore, and they're getting sore in different spots, and I think that's because I'm using them more. Like it was great when I wasn't walking on them yet, and the swelling had gone down enough to where the pain was like next to nothing. But then once I started like walking on them more, then it was a whole different kind of pain. So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I deal with it. It's all good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ian adds, Jim Carrey had a funny sketch about Dr. Kevorkian's home remedies, and it was just a bunch of ways around the house to I remember that skit actually. I think that's my first introduction to Kevorkian was that skit.
That's great.
So,
That's funny. Yeah, but that's like, I mean, it's like enough people have split decisions, even just about the death penalty itself, but to have control over your own mortality like that. Some people, of course, think you're playing God, and maybe they have a fair argument. So, but I could also see, I could imagine suffering so bad that you would maybe want that option, really, really bad.
you'd have to be a man.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, man, it's such a controversial topic that goes on. And it has been. Like, I was a kid when all that stuff was like really heavily debated and stuff.
There's people, that can't move. They're just in a hospital bed. It hurts to breathe. It hurts to not breathe, and they're just in pain and suffering all day. And man, he's trying to help those people. Like, they got limited time anyway. They're on the, they're on their last few days. And, but who knows what, when you jump to the other side, what you're getting. You get, is it rest? Is it nothingness? Is it like, hey, everybody, hey, welcome. We've been waiting for you. It's like, it's comforting for us at different times to picture it different ways.
Yeah, right. It is it, and nobody knows. That's the thing.
That's the thing. That's why, like, if somebody really wants to convince you that they know for sure, then you can be sure that person is maybe not being truthful with themselves, unless they're crazy.
That's it, right? So, Rob, you talked about how was Sabu's memorial being in Philadelphia. It looked like a really good experience, for the people that were there, and a very nice way to honor Sabu. I have pictures here too that I can pull up.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was good. I mean, it sucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just sucked, but it was a good gathering of people, that went out of their way because they loved Sabu, and so it was cool. We did the memorial service in Lansing first, and then it was Philadelphia, and we got one more coming up in July. I think that's incredible that he has 3 memorial services, and I've never heard of anybody else having that. I don't know. Maybe it's something I should have a conversation with AI after the show or something. But if that's like a record, I think that's a pretty cool thing to acknowledge and to not just skip over, but to, the guys, if the guy's still breaking records, that's pretty fucking impressive. And to have like 3 services in 3 different states because he was so popular, I think that's awesome. And I don't know if anyone has done that before. I've never heard of it. I've never heard of 2.
No, I've heard. Yeah, I don't. I'm sure there's maybe been 2, but I could not imagine 3 happening. But it's really cool that that people are being able to do that and attend it. And like, here I'll pop here's some pictures. You and Fonzie and Katie there. I know there's a lot of different people there though. There was let's see, I saw Nunzio there, Guido and Blue Meanie and Tracy there. Who else was there? Joel Gertner was there.
You said Tracy, Blue Meanie and Tracy. Oh, his wife, you mean?
Yeah, his wife. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Talking about Tracy's mother is like, if he was there, you see in spirits, bro. He might have been there though. Oh.
Yeah, right. Todd Gordon was there. Crowbar I saw. Joey Janela was there. There were some people I didn't recognize, and I thought maybe there might have been some of Sabu's family members or something.
Yeah, there was a couple of them too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who was this here, Rob? Was this?
Yeah, that's his sister on the
Mhm.
right.
Yep, Paulina.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And on the left, that's Mo. Him and his son both introduced themselves as Sabu's nephew. So I don't know exactly what the relation is as far as like, yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know if if they're Sabu's mom's side. I don't know the exact connection, but super nice guys. It was cool that they were there with the headpieces on too, because it felt, it just felt good getting up and seeing that. A lot of times it looked like Sabu from certain angles. So
Yeah, right. I was like double looking at some of the photographs. I was like, wait a second, what's going on here?
yeah,
There's a lot of people gave speeches and stuff like that too, right? Gave their own eulogies and everything.
yeah, yeah,
So pretty neat to see. It's unfortunate, obviously, but it's
yeah.
cool.
Everybody, yeah, both places. Anybody that was there was invited to come up on the microphone if they wanted to and share any stories, any Sabu stories or whatever. So, so that was pretty cool.
Pretty
Both,
neat
like I said, at both places.
at both places for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know Joe Clark, who's right here too. He's doing the Sabu documentary. Everybody.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout for that coming up at some point too. So.
Yep, these services are going on the documentary. So until they're done, the movie can't be done.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, good that people were showing up and people paying tribute to Sabu and everything like that too. But how long were you in Philly? Did you go back the day after? When did
Yes.
you? Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I know some people, or I don't know if people stopped at the Oregon Diner, but I saw somebody take a picture of it, the Oregon Diner down there. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex, guys. Remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get the extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you receive prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online, so no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in the line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. They always say first impressions are important. What about lasting impressions? Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RVD at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code RVD to receive your first month free. Visit Blue Chew for more details and important safety information. And we, RVD and I, thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. But
Yeah, I was looking up mafia stuff, and
who were you?
yeah, and the Oregon Diner had a shooting. Frank Baldino got shot by John Vesey there in the Philly Mafia War. Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to look up John Vesey. I wanted to look up where he got shot, but I couldn't find it. There's a lot of addresses that I was at this point I couldn't find. But John Vesey is one of those dudes that goes down in history as getting shot at close range in the head and being able to talk about it.
Was that the one that was like, give me one more or something like that? Or like, you don't have the bullet? Oh, okay. There was somebody that had the 2 bullets in the head.
Well, it sounds like you're talking about Sonny Black. When Sonny Black got shot, the first shot didn't kill him, and he grabbed the gun and put it in his head and said, give me another one, but do this one right. Something to the I'm paraphrasing. What do you say? Do another one, but do it right. Something like that. But no, John Vesey is one of the guys that lived afterwards. There's certain, just like when somebody falls from 11 stories and they live, it makes me think like, damn, like how come they get to live through that? You know, it happens often enough. But anyway, yeah, John VC, they thought he was a stooge, a rat, and and they had the gun right to the back of his head, and boom, it didn't penetrate deep enough to kill his brain. Um, and he turned around and got the gun out of the guy's hand, fought him. I think another dude had a knife. There was two dudes in there. He fought both those guys and ran out and escaped.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and they thought he was gonna rat, I think, on who killed his brother. But then after that, of course, he's gonna rat. You know, it's just like. But anyway, yeah. So he's still around now, John VC, and it's amazing, right? But also that happened with Ken Ito in Chicago. They call him Mr. Tokyo. There's a documentary. If you guys haven't seen it, if you look at Mr. Tokyo, Ken Ito, it's a really good documentary about an associate. He's Japanese, so he can't be a made member of the outfit, but he still is high ranking because he controls high money gambling. And anyway, same thing. He's driving the car, and I told him to park it, and the guy behind him, boom, 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 3 bullets in his head. He faked that he was dead, put his head on the steering wheel, pretended until he heard the doors shut, heard those guys walk off. And then he got out and ran into a drugstore and said, "Hey, I need help." He's bleeding everywhere.
Shit.
Yeah, actually out here in Vegas too. It's what happened when Frank Collada tried to murder Jerry Lisner. He was at the front door, you know. He rang the doorbell, and Jerry Lisner's talking to him at the door, and he tried to distract him. He said, "Well, who's that? I thought you said nobody was here." And he got Jerry to turn his head, and when he did, he shot him in the back of the head. Boom. And Jerry Lisner said, "Oh, why, Frank?" Something like that, you know, why? And then he took off running, and he chased him down and shot him some more times. Didn't do anything. Tried to strangle him with the cord from a water cooler, and it broke. And the guy's like slithered away. And finally, the other guy that was with Frank came in with another gun, and loaded it or whatever, reloaded, and then put a pillow over the guy's head and shot him. And then they throw him in the pool because they think he's so messy that they're going to clean up some of the evidence or whatever. But the scene was remade in the movie Casino, although it was like a hybrid of this and a different murder too. They kind of put them together, but that happens every once in a while. It stands out in my mind, like, man, this guy got shot. And one of the reasons they said, like Frank Collada said, he said that he took the bullets, and I don't know shit about guns, but he said that they were half filled with gunpowder because he didn't want it to make a lot of noise. And he said because of that, there were half fills that they didn't penetrate Jerry Lisner's skull.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy when that happens?
Crazy. Yeah, right? And like that seems like just those instances you bring up seems like a lot to happen in the first place.
Yeah, what a story to tell. Getting shot in the head. It seems like not fair. Like I want to be able to get shot in the head and live through it.
You're right. What's the deal? Dang it. Maddie says RVD versus Dirty Dom versus Heel Cena double champ. I don't know about that, Maddie. I'd like to see Rob go against the Heel Cena though.
Heel Cena spelled get well soon.
Get well soon, Cena.
By the way.
Get well Cena. Did you see his pipe bomb promo he did on Punk?
I didn't.
Okay, it was pretty good. But then Punk came back and did like the Doctor of Punkonomics, like when Cena was the rapper. He did his own version of that, and that was pretty entertaining too. They're doing a pretty good job with that.
What was it about? Why did Cena say hi to?
Yes, so he said hi to Matt Cardona, Claudio, Nick Nemeth, and then I think there was one other person. No, maybe that was it. He said hi to those three, and that people think it's a dog whistle that he's saying hi to Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Colt Cabana because those were all AEW guys that like Punk had a problem with. So they're saying like that was code almost, but I don't know if that's true or not. But so that's kind of what he said that out loud during the promo and stuff like that was the big thing takeaway.
Maybe those were guys that Cena got fired from WWE.
Could be it too. Yeah, who knows, right? It's just like Yeah, there's a lot of different things that go into play with that. It was really entertaining. I thought they blurred the lines in a fun way, and they were telling a story. I did want to bring up this because we had talked about hypocrisy like a couple weeks ago. Well, CM Punk is getting a lot of flack for going to Saudi Arabia because he was pretty outspoken. Or he made some tweets regarding Saudi Arabia to the Miz and all that stuff, and here he ends up going. I have my viewpoints on it all in my own way, but I wanted to get your thoughts. You think saying that you're going, like, you have your own qualms about Saudi Arabia as if CM Punk did, but then he ends up going here. What do you kind of think about that landscape? Like, is that hypocrisy, or do you look at that a different way, Rob?
No, I don't. I don't consider it hypocrisy unless it was done at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because people can grow, the perspective can change, and so if he said something 5 years ago, and then now he feels different about it, then that's not what a hypocrite is. You know, like, we all grow, feel different. You know, I mean, like let's say you're a kid in school and you think this kid's a jerk, and then you start talking to him, and then you find out he's really cool and he becomes one of your friends. Are you a hypocrite? No.
Yeah.
You just have more information now than you had before, and so your view has changed. It has to be at the same time for me to consider it a hypocrite. Like, if he's signing the contract, he's on his way, he's gonna go get big money in Saudi Arabia. At the same time, he messages, I fucking hate people that go to Saudi Arabia, they suck. And then he goes, that's different, because it's the same guy at the same time showing two different faces, or talking out of two different orifices at the same time. That's what a hypocrite is. It's not the same thing as, like, 5 years ago, you said you didn't like tomatoes, and now you're saying you do like tomatoes. Hey, guess what? You developed a taste for it or whatever. Good for you. The fucking tomatoes are good for you.
No, and it made me think about an RVDology in a lot of ways too, and like how it's like you grow as you, like, if you hope to learn as you get older. Like, if you're not learning when you get older, you're not developing and stuff like that. And it's the thing too, like, this is not hypocrisy, I don't think, at all, because he's just, he gets older. His life situation is different. He's got a different appreciation for wrestling, and at the same time too, he's working for WWE, so he knows you gotta walk that balance of, like, maybe you want to take a stance on certain things, but at the same time, you work for a company and you do what you got to do to get paid and make the living and do what you want to do too. And hopefully, maybe at some point, you can make some sort of change with some. I don't know. I think he was getting a lot of unnecessary flack for some of that stuff. And
Right. Well, but I mean, you do got to eat shit if you're going to make a really bold statement and then come out later and then change your mind on it. And you got to say, oh, my bad. Oops. I made I don't feel that way anymore, or whatever.
Yeah.
You do got to eat some crow, as they say. But also, what did he say though? If he just said, hey, Miz, you're taking blood money by going to Saudi Arabia, if that was all that he said, and then he goes to Saudi Arabia and he takes blood money too, then so what? Where was the contradiction?
Right. Yeah. Right.
I don't know exactly what he said.
No. So he basically said that. He said, go suck a blood-soaked dick in Saudi Arabia or something like that. And it was when The Miz said something in regards to, like, I don't know. It was during the WWE backstage stuff. But then Punk this weekend, like, a fan in Saudi Arabia brought this up to him, and Punk addressed it. And he's like, listen, I do apologize for what I said. It was nothing against Saudi Arabia itself. It was more of a mean tweet to Miz, and I was upset that morning. And he's like, so I apologize to everybody, he said. So,
there you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Mm-hmm. So there it is. But I thought it was a interesting thing, since we talked about hypocrisy, and CM Punk was getting a lot of, I think, unnecessary flack for what was going on there too. So, cool. We did have somebody ask, a new guy, Kyle. I can't remember. Kyle Whitaker. He asked about favorite TNA stories, but it made me think about Abyss. He's been getting in the news a lot recently because he got on WWE 2K25, and people are like, "Oh, people haven't really appreciated Abyss. Like he's kind of been underrated since he's been in TNA and never was in WWE." And I know you had your feud with Abyss and stuff like that. But what'd you think of working with somebody like Abyss?
I loved it. I loved working with Abyss. I thought he was a really good wrestler. He really cared about the matches and pulling off everything, visualizing and then seeing it through. Super nice guy, and that's awesome that he's in the video game. He's an office guy now, but I always really liked working with him, and he was a little hesitant to take some of my kicks when I first started working with him. And then fast forward, like, I don't know, 2 years or whatever, and I did end up kicking him in the mouth and knocking his teeth out. And I always felt really bad about that, as I would normally anyway, but because I like Abyss so much and he's such a nice guy, I felt extra bad that happened. And he's got a beautiful set of choppers now, and I see him every once in a while, and I think if they wanted to, they could have done something with in the ring instead of just giving him an office job. And I know he liked to wrestle. I don't know what circumstances were when he got hired. Have no idea. So I can't speak for him, but I could see him wrestling in WWE. I don't know if he ever had a run or not, but I forgot until the last several times I saw him that he's a suit and tie now. Then when I see him, it's like, oh yeah, so now I expect it. Good guy.
I know he's a good guy. It's really weird because I always think about Abyss, but then he had the other gimmick, Joseph Park, where he was like the alter ego or something, or like I can't remember how it was set up. If it was his brother, quote unquote brother or whatever, but it was entertaining stuff. And it's weird to see him just like in a suit and tie, and it's like, oh, that is Abyss right there. Yeah. Pretty funny stuff. Warehouse number 8 says, "Dad of 3 girls here. Congrats and good luck, Rob." So he's got the experience.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, appreciate it. That's I'm gonna be. I'll have 3 girls here, counting the wife.
Yeah.
So that's how I balance it. Always, I like. I kind of take care of the testosterone in the house, and don't want like another little boy peeing out the window of his bedroom like I used to do.
Yeah, deal with that chaos. Have anybody given you like input like that have daughters or anything like that? Has any friends or anybody like that?
Just like him, good luck. Who was it the other day? Like I forgot that they. Well, actually, in Philly, it was Danny Doring that said he had twins, and I forgot that Tommy Dreamer has twin daughters as well. So yeah, but. Everyone says it's a blessing, and I know that to be true. I know it is. I feel blessed.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Chelsea added something a little bit earlier on too. I wanted to bring up here. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. She said, "I have been to heaven and back because of open heart surgery, and there are angels up there." So she had it like back in, I think she said 2010 in another chat message. So interesting.
Wow.
Right there.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. That's so amazing when people have afterlife experiences, and then the commonalities, you know, like I don't know if you've ever seen documentaries on that where everyone seems to describe this light, you know, and if you're skeptical, you think, well, that's because they're on the surgery table, that's that light, you know.
Yeah.
But they always describe like this peaceful feeling and stuff. And then man, yeah, something I'm fascinated with also is mediums.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like I the ones that are on TV, even like it's so entertaining, and you know, sometimes in order for it to be a work, like the readee person getting read would also have to be in on it in order for some of that shit to not just be legit, you know.
Right. Exactly.
So, all the ones I've seen are amazing. That John Edwards, I think, started it a while ago, and now that Tyler kid that looks like Macaulay Culkin, and there's a lady, the Long Island medium.
Oh, I've heard of her before. I heard of her.
Yeah, those people fascinate me. They
Yeah.
fascinate me, and they're always able to like pick clues and stuff. You know, like that same pretty obscure like stuff that wouldn't be easy to guess at. It seems specific to the actor or actress or celebrity or normal person, whoever's getting read. You know, with the Macaulay Culkin dude, it's always celebrities. You know, and I remember at my mom's a few weeks ago, I was watching Jamie Presley getting read, and it's like, man, she would totally have to be in on it, you know, in order for it to be a work, because they're not naming random stuff. It's not like, I see a color yellow, does that mean anything to you? I mean, it's not like that at all. Like they'd really narrow it down, and to where you know, I don't know, if you don't watch that shit, it's pretty entertaining. And you know, the great unknown, it's amazing, as many hundreds or thousands or millions, depending on what you believe, of years as we've been around, and we still don't seem to be able to know like the answers to those biggest questions that we want to know.
Right. It's crazy too. Like humankind has been around forever, not forever, but a long, long time. And it's just like, we still don't know the answer. Nobody knows.
Right. So, yeah. I mean, like, seems like there'd be enough people gathered together, like, you know, like her, that say, you know, if there was angels she saw or whatever. And it seems like passing along all that information over so many centuries, it's like we'd get somewhere with it, you know, where we'd have an idea, we'd have a program or something on a computer and have it all worked out. But that's the great unknown. And I guess by the time we find out, you know, you're pretty much committed. It's too late, or what are you going to do with it? You're on the other side, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
by the time you find out, it's time for you to find out.
It's up, yeah, right. And then you can't tell anybody. Maddie says, RVD hitting the facts. Even when we fall, we win.
Ain't that true? Which, by the way, it's just, I don't know why, but Louis Piccoli just popped in my mind. No, I guess because I was thinking, like, we don't know, you know, like it's easy to say, you know, that for Sabu, that his uncle and his mom and Jeannie were waiting for him. Maybe Louis Piccoli, you know, ton of wrestlers we could say would be there waiting for him. Gary Albright, blah, blah, blah. Just that quick thought made me think. I got 3 quick Louis stories.
Yeah.
Because Louis was funny. And Louis was Sabu's friend before he was mine. And Louis was cool with me because Sabu said he was cool. So that meant cool. If Sabu likes him, then, you know, good enough. He's in our clique. And that's how I became friends with Louis. But he made Sabu laugh a lot. Did I already tell you the one about the funeral? Man, I'll tell it again anyway.
Yeah, tell again anyways, because there'll be new listeners.
Louis and Sabu had this joke, and Sabu said, he told me if I go to his funeral when he dies, will I wear my wrestling gimmick at the funeral? I told him, fuck no, I'm not going to your funeral, and he said, oh come on, you gotta. And he said, no, I'm not right. Don't die. I'm not going to your funeral. And he was like, all right, but if I do die first, you gotta wear it. And he was talking about his headdress and shit. And Sabu told me that in front of Louis, and Louis, was backing him up, saying, yeah, he's got to, man. That'd be sweet. And we just thought that was funny, ironic when Louis died first. But now, maybe they're together and Sabu's wearing his gimmick. But I told about how Sabu got Louis fired, right? Or
Yeah.
no?
Yeah,
Okay.
where he peed in the bottle and they said, oh, he peed in the bottle, and then it got him fired.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he told, he If you didn't already hear it, Sabu thought it was funny to tell on Louis on the bus in Japan. And he said he peed in the bottle, threw it out the window, but he was joking. He didn't actually want the guy to. He didn't think the guy would care, or he didn't want him to hear. But they actually fired Louis, and that's why Sabu was always nice to him. I mean, he liked him anyway, but I mean, that's why I felt like he owed him. Is what I'm trying to say. And anyway, the other one that I don't think I've told yet. When WWE was in LA where Louis lived, Louis took some of the boys' clothes home with to wash, right? Because they're on the road.
Yeah.
And he said to Sabu, who told me that Louis said, does that make me a mark if I put Bret Hart's outfit on and look at myself in the mirror?
That's hilarious. Oh man, that's funny shit right there.
Yeah, Louis was funny, and anyway, there's
How was he as a wrestler, Rob? Was he pretty good as a wrestler? Was he like?
I think he was strong, and he understood it. He got it. He had that the Spicoli driver, which
Yeah.
I think someone in Japan was doing it, but nobody else was doing it here, so it really stood out. I think so. Yeah, I don't think that I actually wrestled him though. I don't think I actually had a match with him where I could judge it. I think maybe one time, maybe I kicked him down when he did a run in, like one of those kind of things. But I never wrestled with him. I remember Sabu did, and hit him in the eye, and his eye like puffed up one time, and we thought it was so funny because Sabu hit him, and it was very puffed up. But then after a little later, Louis blew his nose, and when he did, it went like a balloon and inflated. Yeah, and I just remember like that was when Louis was pretty new to me, 96, and somewhere around there, and I remember they were laughing so hard, and Sabu was it was kind of gross, like, oh my God, you're not worried about that? And Sabu was, look at him. He blew his nose and look what happened.
That's crazy. Oh man. Yeah, no, it's from what I hear, like Louis was a funny dude, and yeah, he was missed by a lot of people too. Like, I always heard about it. He was kind of before my wrestling fandom, before I really got into it, but I heard about his passing. So it was definitely something that people share, like that they like him a lot. So
Right on.
Yeah.
Katie just came home.
What's up, Katie? All right. She got the supermarket sweep done. I was telling her she's doing the supermarket sweep. Hey. How's it going? True Blue Aussie says, hello, Rob. I'm a homeless man living in a tent, and I love watching your channel as it makes me forget about not being able to eat for days and what's happening with me.
Wow. Well, glad I could fill your tummy with RVD-isms.
Yeah, that's it, right? Get full on that, True Blue Aussie. Best of luck to you, man. Keep in touch.
Right. Yeah. Hope stay safe. Stay dry if it's raining, or cool if it's hot, or whatever you know.
Absolutely. Marco.
I've slept in the car
Yeah.
quite a few times when I was starting out in my career, but I never have been homeless. You know, that's something we could do a list of like wrestlers that were homeless.
Yeah.
Actually, quite a few of them. You know.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Okay. We'll have to do something. Do you want to do a list? We can do a list or something.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, but maybe. But I can
Yeah.
think of quite a few, and but also I've had some stay with me that didn't have a home, you know. So that, but that's you think of them being like out, like in a tent when you say homeless or cardboard box or something. But actually, if you're crashing on someone's couch and you're staying there because you don't have a home and that's your home, or motel rooms in between or whatever, then I guess that's a little different version. I don't know.
Yeah. A little bit. Definitely a little different. Sure. Man,
Yeah.
that's crazy to think though. Marco, RVD420.com, guys. Go get some RVD glassware, by the way. Check it out. But Marco, he sends in a chat here. Yo, dude, my best friend got one done, and the psychic brought up my name specifically and our friendship. She called me after, all freaked out. How about that? How about that? Man.
I wish I knew somebody that was a medium that we could have on the show as a guest. You
How
know?
cool would that be? Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I never had a real solid experience with anybody like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like one time here, we had a couple of women over through a middle connection. Tim Chismar, he said these ladies, they have this show or whatever, and they want to come over and give you a reading or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I got spirits all around me all the time. Fuck yeah. But when they came over, they couldn't get any reading. It was so disappointing.
You're like, dang it.
Yeah,
Come
there's
on.
like nothing to it. But we were in Lansing, Michigan for Sabu's services last week.
Mhm.
A long week. We swung through Battle Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And got a couple of shots for the documentary. And one of the shots was at the house I grew up in, and we were in the front yard taking pictures. And the neighbor next door, we ended up talking to them. Same neighbors that I grew up with. That was amazing. They were both there. They saw me. They came out. But the dude that lived in the house came out, and he was a fan. You know, he was all excited. He was like, "What? Don't tell me Rob Van Dam is filling my house." And he came out. "Hey, you want to come in? Come on in." And while we were in there, I looking like, "Wow, I remember this. You know, this room was a lot bigger when I was a kid." And I mentioned to him, I said, did you know about, that this house was haunted? He said, yeah, 'cause the guy that killed himself in the garage. He said, yeah, I know. And he said, it still is haunted. I was like, wow, okay. And we talked about that, and he still experiences the same stuff that I experienced living in that house, which was footsteps and doors swinging open and stuff turning on and off, but not actually seeing a entity. And so we both we were able to talk about that, and that was kind of crazy. That's one of the reasons I always think that somebody that can communicate with the other side, I always think that they should have an easy time with me, because I've always felt like spirits are comfortable with me, but I don't know why I feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, you got good energy. That's the thing, right?
Yeah, I guess. I hope so.
What'd be funny, Rob, is if we did get like a medium on here, and either way, if they were like legitimate, that'd be fascinating. But if they were,
awesome. Yeah.
if they were scamming us, that'd even be funny too, because it would be like, you're bullshitting us, aren't you?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
That's the thing too, is like it's hard when you're skeptical sometimes to get a reading, or at least I think it would be. But I mean, not if you don't let the skepticism block anything verbally or whatever. If you're at least open enough to hear and answer questions, it should take its course. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. No, it would be very, very fascinating. So, we got some more super chats in here. We got Ask a Bum. All right, we'll ask you: is it true that Haku can't be beat in a fight?
As far as I know, I can't say that I've ever seen it, but he's got the reputation for being the baddest of the bad, and taking on many guys at the same time in a bar and doing violent stuff, putting his fingers in nostrils and ripping noses out and ripping your eyeballs out if he has to or whatever. Not pretty stuff like in the movie.
No.
And I love him. He's always been really cool to me, and I love that and respect his reputation. All the Samoans, the original Samoans, and probably still, they're all like, they all like want to fight. It seems like, but and that is generalizing saying that, but I've always felt that, like, even when I didn't know who any of these guys were, like I remember like when I was in Hawaii, just walking on the sidewalk and the bouncers from the clubs, big Samoans, would be like, all right, you ready to go, Van Damme? Like that was just like, and anyway, Sheik back in the day was telling me like that he brought the original Samoans over for the first time.
Really?
Well, that's what he said. I don't know were they from Pennsylvania or did he bring them over? I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm not sure. That's a good point.
But I do remember him telling the stories and saying that he couldn't get them to stop fighting in the bars. Like he said, every night they'd go out and they'd be like beating everybody up, and he said he'd have to tell them, you can't do that here, you'll get in trouble. And I always remember him saying that way back when I was 18, 19. So I guess he was talking about Alpha and
Sika.
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And but anyway, Haku likes me, so thank goodness. And overall, I think the general guy on the streets knows a lot more about fighting than used to in like the 70s and 80s. You know what I mean? And that's hurt the wrestling business too, because a lot of them, because like with MMA and that getting like so popular, and also the internet and the availability and accessibility to worldwide information being traded instantly, you can see all kinds of different fighting, different styles, different arts, different competition, different real street fights, all of that. And because of all that, that's changed the respect level that wrestling might have had at one time when people really didn't know. Most people have never been in a fight at all. And now I still think most people have never been in a fight, but I think most people have at least seen MMA and maybe picked up a chokehold or two or something, or feel or have been educated, have had fighting intersect into their lives somewhat more than I would have, back in the 80s or whatever. So what I'm saying about that is that, Haku, of course, badass, a lot of that's my reputation. Guys my generation never witnessed that, but, we got guys like Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, and, how would Haku do against one of them? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like it's a whole different generation, a different level perspectively of fighter. So, got to take all that into consideration.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why it's so cool. Once you're a legend, you're timeless.
Yes, that's it. and like the legend of Haku is always there because that's what you hear about him all the time. But he's such a nice guy too. At the same time too, it's like I almost mentally can't put it together. I'm like, well, this guy could rip out somebody's eyeball and like all that stuff when he's such a nice dude. I just like shook his hand or whatever. But that's true too. Like a lot of the Samoans, they're all about that kind of attitude. But like somebody like Jacob Fatu, like he's super nice. Like you meet him and he's like one of the nicest people ever. And he's like so friendly and outgoing. He hangs out with some fans and everything like that. But I'm sure he could kick some ass too if he really wanted to at the same time. Pretty neat stuff. Couple more super chats here. You've always asked this, Rob. The original Dizzy D. Thanks for $2. Favorite wrestlers to get stoned with? Any stories?
Well, I mean, I like to get stoned with Booker T.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were writing partners for a long time, and good friends too. You know, like kind of besties that don't worry about every dollar which way it goes or whatever. You know what I mean? And be like, we'd both bring weed. You know, he'd roll one, I'd roll one. You know, if I wanted to smoke more, I'd roll a second one. You know, it was never like, hey man, you know, you're smoking on my weed and you're not. It was never like that, you know, not with him anyway. So, but also, of course, smoking with Sabu. That you might not know this, but a lot of us, when we start smoking, we smoke like what's available, and if you live in certain parts of the country, the weed's not that good, but you don't know the difference, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was smoking shit. It was like seeds, stems, a little bit of fucking hard, crispy brown weed that Larry and Orlando would call fire. And then Sabu would have train wreck, and he would bring it on the road, and it was like so different. It was like green and fluffy, and it actually tasted good. It didn't taste like a campfire, you know. It tasted good. It was like a pleasure to smoke, and it was so strong, and it lifted you up. It made you feel like so good. It was such a different experience that, looking back at it, knowing the bigger picture, I wasn't getting high. I wasn't, you know, smoking weed. It was like fucking nasty. Like, but you crunch it all in a bowl, you know. It would, you say, well, I'll smoke the seeds too. There's probably like some powder on the seeds or something that'll help. But that's shit. And a lot of times you just get a headache and makes you tired. If anything, it's not even really good. But anyway, really, really good weed doesn't have seeds in it. And you can tell if someone has a see-through lighter, their weed has seeds in it. If they got, if they have a Bic like this one, then they're not smoking the shitty weed anymore.
Oh,
yeah,
that's interesting to know too.
Yeah, they want to save 20 cents, so they get the shitty little plastic see-through one that the fucking trigger breaks on halfway through, and it lights and like uses 3 times as much fuel as it needs to. But anyway, Sabu was, you know, one of my favorite people to do everything with. So, but when it came to smoking, I remember that like way back before I knew the difference between weed. I'd be like, man, are you bringing that fucking train wreck? And he'd say, I think so. I'm supposed to get some Friday before I leave. And it was always like a really special treat because we weren't smoking the goody goods.
Yeah. So like once you get that, it's like, hell yeah. It's a
yeah. A lot of people still don't know that, you know, like people that live like in the middle of the country, they're smoking really shit. And a lot of people that hate weed, that's why for a lot of them, you know, because it's a horrible experience. That shit stinks. It's just messy. Like I said, it gives you a headache, makes you tired, and people be like, why do people want to smoke that? Just like really, even for me now, even if it's one of the old white papers that used to be really popular. Like I don't see those very often, but sometimes I do. Like a white, thick, zigzag fucking rolling paper, and I taste the paper so much that it takes away from the enjoyment of even smoking it. It's like I'm good, bro. Here,
Yeah, it's all right.
and yeah, people don't understand it because it's the best they've had, I guess, at that point or whatever, which could relate to just about everything in life.
Well, I'd be an idiot too because I would like smoke something and just be like, "Oh yeah, this is really good." I would be in that camp because I don't know anything about weed really.
But then a lot of people would be like, "Ew, gross! It tastes bad. I don't like it."
Oh yeah, it might turn me off too. Yeah.
Maybe if they had some Alaskan thunderfuck, or some train wreck or something like that, then they might have a total different experience with it.
Yeah, true. I had something. I don't know how. I guess it's probably common. My buddy in Philly, he had something called green crack, and we tried that out, and I liked that a lot. Whatever that was, that was a good high on that one.
Cushionator has a song about that.
Oh, really?
Green crack. Yeah.
So I like that one.
Yeah, it was his favorite for a while.
Oh yeah. Follow up here from Ask a Bum, $5, thank you. He said, in your opinion, does a major size difference of 30 pounds or more matter in a fight?
Well, it could. I mean, it would depend on. See, pounds isn't size; it's weight, right? So it would depend on where that weight is on the person, and I mean, overall, I would say it's definitely not one of the top factors. No, but if it's two very physically fit, athletic fighters, and one of them is 30 pounds heavier than the other one, and they're both in really good shape, then I mean, it could make quite a difference because that person could be quite a bit stronger if he's like in a total different weight class. But at the same time, it's still only going to matter so much. What's going to be more important is going to be the fighting skills. If the smaller guy is just a way better puncher, faster, or finisher of any kind, jiu-jitsu, fucking lock him up in a triangle, whatever it is, if the one guy is a way more skilled fighter than the other one, I would say then the 30 pounds would be an even less important factor. And then there's also luck. I mean, if two guys are like really swinging, even the best fighters, we pay to watch them on pay-per-view. These guys train their asses off. They're the best fighters in the world. But when they get out there, boom, one of them, a lot of times they'll get caught. And that's, kind of luck, kind of skill. But that comes into play as well. So that's how I would answer that. 30 pounds of solid muscle is a pretty big difference. But if they're equal in every other single way, then it would matter the most. But what would matter more would be the fight that's in either competitor. The guy, their skills, which include everything. Skills is a good way to answer it.
Yeah. Okay. What about like I guess like not. I guess what is it? Fortitude. I guess would that be I would have to be a factor too. Like how much you can take, right?
Yeah, but that's why I say like skills would be speed, fucking durability. Your fucking maybe your setup game. Like there's all kinds of your power. There's all kinds of things. So if we just say, your fighting skills and ability, that's what's going to matter. And it could be a 600-pound guy with a 230-pound guy, and if the 230-pound guy, if his skills fucking allow him to fucking catch that dude in the chin and knock him out or knock him down to his knees or whatever, then boom, that's the way it's going to go down, and it's not going to be about the weight at all.
Right. Yeah. Then it's completely non-factor at that point.
And also, like, let's say you're 230 pounds and in great shape, and then here's a dude that's 260 pounds, but that extra 30 pounds is just fat. And overall, he's fat. He's a 260 pound fat guy. What's he going to do against a 230 pound guy that's in great shape?
Yeah. Right. And
But again, it's going to go back to their fighting skills and abilities.
yeah, absolutely. That's what it boils down to.
It's the only true answer.
And it's a really interesting. I like that subject too because it's just like fascinating. It's like I've been in fights when I was a kid and I was on the losing end, basically every one, but that's it. So I don't know anything outside. So
You went, oh.
oh yeah. I was a little brat when I was a kid, so I deserved it. I'd instigate fights and then get my ass kicked. So.
But you learned how durable you are and how much how you react to getting hurt, beat up, and thrown around and bruised, and
right.
You know if fragile or not, right?
Exactly. I know that a little bit. I got a gauge for that at least. Let's see here. I think that was it for the super chat. So let me make sure I got everybody's. Oh nope, Gem the Dawn, or no, Steve Soleil. I'm sorry, $5. Can't wait to see Only Wrestlers in New Orleans, bro. I just ordered an RVD t-shirt from One True Sport. Hell yeah. Thank you.
Sweet.
All right. I wonder which one you got. Steve. You'll have to show me.
I got to pick up the store game on the Only Wrestlers, too. I got to put some autograph photos and shit like that in there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Cool. Yep. July 10th. Got a really busy
July.
Busy June, busy July, and somewhat busy August. Yeah. Pretty busy. But yeah, anyway, we got that July 10th that he's talking about, New Orleans. Only Wrestlers. And then 2 days later, July 12th, I'm going to be at StarCast in Texas.
Yeah, that's right.
Arlington, Texas. Yeah, you could be putting up these flyers. That's why you're going like that, because you're going to add it later.
I'm going to add it later. Boom.
And this Wednesday on the 2nd, I'm going to be back up in Chicago. And you do have the graphic for this, right?
Bang. Night, the Boomers and Rob Van Dam. July 2nd at 6:30 p.m. at Wintrust Field in Schaumburg, Illinois. That's right by Chicago. So be sure to go.
Sweet. Yes. Maybe you got time to see a couple Chicago mobster sites.
Ooh, yeah. I know it's bountiful there. That's the place of Al Capone, everybody, and then some.
If I do, I'll tell you. By the way, when we were in Philly a couple days ago for Sabu's ECW Arena Memorial Tribute, I did go by. I went by Joey Molino's cheesesteak place, which is very good. Katie said it was the best cheesesteak she's ever had. So
that's the Tony Luke's, right? Is that Tony Luke's?
No, this guy. It's not Tony Luke's. Joey Merlino is the former or possibly current Philadelphia Mafia boss, and he's like he's got a podcast, and it's like he's the only guy that didn't flip, to get out of jail. He did his time, he got out, and never ratted. So that's why some people consider him still the boss, because he was running the Philadelphia family, and they're saying, well, that's still on him, and he never broke the rules or anything. So anyway, he does a podcast, but word is on the street that the New York families told him he had to step down because of his podcast. But who knows what the real scoop is there? But it's an interesting position to be in. But anyway, he has a show, Skinny Joey's, Merlino's podcast, whatever. But he opened up a cheesesteak place, and I'd been there before when it was the old owners on Broad Street, like right under the bridge. It's like uh, 10, 15 years ago, I remember going there. So I wanted to go there again because I knew that he had bought it and opened it up and all this. And so we were there. Had to wait, not real long, but it was just so hot, so humid. I was just dying that it seemed kind of like a long time. And but I'm not gonna complain. It was awesome. We enjoyed it. And then I went to also one location I saw. I just picked an address because I've seen this, one of the most overly used death photos of the mafia wars, and that's the Angelo Bruno, the General Don. I wanted to see where that car was sitting because he's in a. The photo has his mouth open, like that's the way he died. His driver drove him home, so it's like right in front of his place there, and his driver John Stanfa rolled the window down, his passenger window down, so Angelo Bruno could light a cigar, smoke it, and when he did, he got a shotgun in the back of his head, boom, and so the death shot is like.
I just saw it, Rob, too. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's a very used. You could show it if you. I don't know. If
YouTube might flag me for it. I think if I put it up, but it's yes, it's everything you say it is. Holy shit!
Big part of the Philly war because Angelo Bruno was the boss for at least 20 years. He's one of the last of the old timers, the Mustache Pete's. So when the new guys were coming up and wanting to deal drugs, and the old timers were saying no, then all the young Turks were taking over and shit. And he had Atlantic City, and in '76 they opened up legalized gambling in Atlantic City, and the guys were looking at Angelo Bruno like, that's ours. Like, why are you letting the New York families and everyone else put their fingers in Atlantic City? And that was a big reason too. But Tony Bananas is the guy that had the shotgun, allegedly, that shot him, and he thought he was going to be boss, but he got set up by the Genovese family in New York. Supposedly, Fonzie Thierry gave him permission to whack Bruno, but then denied it when he got called up for a sit down. So they killed him. Who did I say it was?
You had
the guy that put the shotgun. Let's see, John Stanford's driving, Angelo Bruno, and whatever, whoever. I can't. I just said his name, but anyway, he got killed because he killed Angelo Bruno, and they're saying, and Vincent Gigante is saying, dude, what the fuck? That's our friend. What'd you do? Anyway, they killed him, and they stuffed dollar bills up his asshole and put him in the trunk of a car to say that he was greedy. And then it was, Philip Testa was the boss, and then they blew up Philip Chicken Man Testa. They blew his porch up outside his front house, and then it was Nicky Scarfo. Was it straight from Philip Testa to Nicky Scarfo? Nicky, but then John Stanfa, the driver, comes back, and Nicky Scarfo and John Stanfa had the war, and that's where John Vesey got shot in the back of the head. And Joey Merlino was in that. He was a young Turk coming up in the war with John Stanfa. He fought with John Stanfa. They shot each other all over the city, and now he's got a podcast in a cheesesteak place.
Holy shit. Is this podcast good? Have you listened to it, Rob?
Yeah, I like it, but a lot of it is sports, and I don't know anything about sports.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he did. Does he do bets, like gamble?
I don't know. Like, he talks about it. He talks about I guess he does talk about like gambling, and I don't know if it's him betting or or talking about people betting or what he would bet on or whatever something. But I get lost in all that. But
Yeah.
sometimes, but also it's on Patreon now, so.
Oh.
I think YouTube might just have clips or whatever. So sometimes I'll listen to a clip, especially if it's about the mafia. Like he rags on all the other mobsters, calls them all rats, every one of them, and it's kind of fun to hear him tell everybody, fuck him, he's a rat. Fuck him, he's a rat. Yeah.
How funny is it too that it's a fucking podcast might like have messed with the mob stuff? It's just weird to think like, hey, you're doing a podcast and you got to get out of here.
I know. Yes, I know. Supposedly the Genovese family, I called it, gave him put him on the carpet and said, that they had to replace him with somebody. And I don't know if it's true or not, but that was in the headlines a while ago. And I don't even know if he was still running anything. Of course, he denies all of it. But also you can look him up on YouTube right now and find out how many people he's murdered,
Holy shit. That's crazy. I'm going to check out the podcast. It's funny. They're like, you got to get rid of this Blue Chew. You can't have the Blue Chew ads anymore. Get rid of them Bona pills. We had another super chat from Ask the Bum. This was one I think we've talked about already, Rob. And then we'll close out with that. How would you defeat your arch enemy, Rob Van Dam?
Let's see. I would invite him to a smoke off, and then I would give him a massive amount of kratom, and then I would see if he still acted the same, or if he was one of the people that gets affected in a total opposite way. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then if it affected him and he wasn't cool enough to stay balanced, like this Rob Van Dam, well, then I would just capitalize on his imbalance, take him down, keep him down, and I would call the police. I call the cops like a Karen, and I'd say, he took a picture of me. He does not have my consent.
Yes.
That's my plan.
Would you literally do that, though?
No, not literally, just figuratively.
Oh, okay. Cool, man. Well, this was
Somebody said, weed is my kryptonite like it is yours. You see that message?
Yeah.
Like, kryptonite is something.
That would not help you.
Yeah. I don't know if you get that. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Few people say it's more like spinach to Popeye for me. I mean, that's
it. That's what. I just followed them. The site that does the cartoons. What's the one?
Oh, Rib Shot.
Rib Shot. They should do that. A Popeye version of you doing the smoking weed.
Yeah, totally.
That'd be fun.
They're working on something for me for only wrestlers.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, what'd you think? The Maven clip, I saw that got released.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. What I noticed was when we're talking about only wrestlers, it came out good, but the convo is about the platform. But we talked about how the fans vote on stuff, and that didn't seem to make the final cut. So it seems like it was just the platform, not the fans voting and the live shows and the community that we're building through that. And I remember that he really got that. Like he was like, he understood it and thought it made me think that he liked it. That was like really cool. Like, yeah, I get that. And then it's all everyone. That's a genius. Everyone's together, community, and they're doing it. They're helping you make decisions. That's great. And I was like, yeah, thanks. And then when I watched it, I was like, I think that part's on the cutting room floor.
Gee whiz.
But that's all. Besides that, I liked it though.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I know they share the links underneath the video, and it's got a lot of hits already, obviously. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good to see. We'll try to have to get maybe.
Very cool. Yeah, he got me high.
Yeah.
Well, that was cool. He smoked for the first time in 20 years, and then started like blowing smoke rings and doing sucking it up his nose like a pro.
Oh man, so he had it down.
Yeah.
That Maven, he surprises you, that Maven. So,
But when he left there, dude, he stunk.
did he? Oh man, there it is. Man, you stink.
Good guy.
Yeah, he seems like all right. So yes, guys, if you're in Chicago area, July 2nd, check it out. Schaumburg Boomers. Go to the ballpark at Wintrust Stadium there. See Rob Van Dam. Wintrust.
Yes. July 2nd, and then boom, I got that week. Boom. Got a couple things that aren't public to talk about. Boom, and then New Orleans, and then Arlington, and then Sabu's Las Vegas services, which I don't know at this point, but I will find out before our next show if the public is invited or not to the Las Vegas service. I don't know.
Awesome. All right. Well, stay tuned for it, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in here today for One of a Kind with RVD. We appreciate what the fans do. You guys run the show a great deal, so we always appreciate the questions getting asked and everything like that. So, Rob, this has been fun, man. We'll have to pick it up again this week sometime.
Hey, I just was skimming through and I saw Michelle Donnelly. That was my neighbor.
Oh.
Hey, I see Dory Funk Jr. in here.
Yeah. That's right.
Oh, dude. Every once in a while I look over and I think, oh, yeah, we have a chat scroll over here.
Yeah.
And then I go through it. But anyway, yeah, I saw Michelle Donnelly. And hey, Michelle, I saw your mom and dad, but you already know that.
And her sister.
Oh, and your sister, Erin, too. I grew up right next door to them, and I just saw her in Chicago, and I told her Santa Claus wasn't real. And
oh, no, you revealed it?
Yeah, I wondered if her mom and dad were pissed at me still.
Oh, no.
Kenny Casanova's in there.
Wow, we got a whole lots of folks in here, too. I saw Seth showed up, too. Seth showed up. I see Seth in here, so shout out to him.
Right on. You gotta call out these big superstars when they're in the room.
I know. I gotta make notes here. I gotta keep my eyes peeled.
Blue Meaning's a regular in here, even though I don't see him here.
I
did see him the other day in Philly, and as you saw in the pictures, he went up and told. And man, that's all I can say is it sucks. You know what I mean? Like it's weird when people ask how it went, because I know what they mean, and I think it went off nice, I guess, but it just sucked. I don't even know like what I said you know what I mean? Like, because I was like, in a I don't know, in a hurt place, but being professional, and everybody like took their turns telling the stories, and then, man, I can't remember what I was going to say, but anyway, yeah, when I say it sucked, what I was going to say was like, I'm honored to go up there and give the Sabulogy, but then it's weird afterwards when people compliment me for talking, because it just feels like such a given natural obligation that I feel like that of course I would do that, and no matter how much I do, it's not going to be enough. You know what I mean? So it's a weird feeling to explain, and then it's weird to hear people afterwards say great job or thank you or whatever, because it's just like, like, I don't know, it's weird. It's like it's a really weird feeling, and I know that they mean it well, and so I take it well. Good. I'm glad they didn't hate it, but at the same time, it's just like, oh, it didn't feel good.
I bet it doesn't. No, I bet it doesn't. That's the thing, though. I always see online too, Rob, is like how much people are thankful that you are doing what you are with, keeping Sabu's legacy going, and being really, a big proponent for it all. So I think that people really appreciate that. And, shout out to YouTube Chris too for putting up the matches and all that stuff with Sabu and everything too as well.
Right. He's keeping it going. That's pretty
Seth,
damn cool.
Seth added a super chat. Thanks for the $20, Seth. Jeez, man. You don't have to do that. Maven looked like he's been smoking a lot more recently than 20 years ago, or at least muscle memory kicked in. Were you really listening to our tune when he walked in, or did you plan that? Oh, how about that? Were you listening to the tune, or was that planned out? That, I guess, his theme song.
This ain't WWE behind the scenes.
Unreal.
What's that new show where they
it's WWE Unreal coming up.
Yeah, this ain't WWE Unreal, motherfuckers. We listen to a little higher all day, every day.
That's it. It's on rotation.
24/7. Yeah, I would have it on right now, but I couldn't hear you.
That's it. Plus, we get a copyright flag too at the same time.
Yeah, that's true too.
But cool. We'll do this again, and fun stuff, man. Yes. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and Rob, thank you too for doing this on a Sunday.
Dude, probably be back on in a few days to try to get back
in the rhythm.
Yeah, probably. All right. Well, cool. Thanks, Tom. Enjoyed it. Thanks, Van Dam fam.
See you, Van Dam fam. Next time here on One of a Kind with RVD. That's RVD. I'm pointing the wrong way. That way. There he is.
Peace out, hoes.
Peace up,